Nestled in the rugged beauty of South Dakota's Black Hills, Custer State Park is a nature lover's paradise filled with breathtaking landscapes, diverse wildlife, and unforgettable scenic drives. Whether you're coming here to leisure explore the wildlife loop road and witness the hundreds of bison roaming freely, or you're here to tackle the tallest peak east of the Rockies called the Black Elk Peak, this park has something for everyone. In this guide, I want to break it all down for you, from must-see attractions, where to stay close to the park, and give you my personal recommendations and tips to make the most of your next visit to Custer State Park. Custer State Park is located a 30-minute drive from Rapid City, South Dakota. The park covers more than 71,000 acres of land that includes the Wildlife Loop, the Needles District, and the Iron Mountain Road. When planning to visit Custer, you'll most likely fly into Rapid City and make this your home base for exploring the park. Another option is to stay in the town of Custer, where you truly feel like you stepped back in time. This is the oldest town in the Black Hills that got its start during the gold rush in 1874. You will find everything you need here, from lodging and campgrounds, grocery stores, and plenty of delicious restaurants to choose from. And most importantly, you'll only be 20 minutes away from major park attractions such as the Crazy Horse, Mount Rushmore, and the Wildlife Loop. Custer can be enjoyed year-round, however many of the roads in the park close for the winter months, so it's best to check the park's website for most up-to-date information. The best times to visit are between May and September, when the weather finally warms up and you can truly take advantage of all the outdoor activities in the park. Summers can get quite busy, making the roads very congested, so I recommend May or late September for the perfect balance between lesser crowds, beautiful weather, and plenty of beautiful sunsets. Now that we have covered the must-knows before visiting, let's break down the different areas of the state park, beginning with the Wildlife Loop. This 18-mile road offers some of the best wildlife viewing opportunities in the park, from large herds of bisons, pronghorn antelopes, and lots of prairie dogs. The road begins in the south of the park, roughly 15-minute drive from the town of Custer, near the west entrance of the park. You will have to pay $25 entrance fee, which is good for 1 week from the time of the entry. The best time for seeing the animals is early in the morning or late in the afternoon. Drive slowly and keep your eyes peeled, as some animals can be seen off in the distance, while others will happily walk right up to your car. Be sure to stop at the Wildlife Station Visitor Center and ask the knowledgeable park rangers for the latest animal sightings. Across from the Visitor Center is a road called Fisherman Flats that is known to have frequent bison sightings. During my visit in May, I spotted hundreds of newborn baby bisons frolicking around on the hills. As I drove further down the road, my car was surrounded by curious teenage bison coming up to my car. Remember to never approach wildlife and remain in the car in these types of situations. Another unforgettable encounter I've had with the bisons was near the French Creek around mile marker 16. This happened in the late evening as the bisons were looking for a place to sleep. It was so magical to see people watch in awe as these majestic creatures slowly made their way over the hills. I recommend at least a few hours to complete this drive, because trust me, you'll be making a lot of stops along the way. And if you want more information, check out my Wildlife Loop video. It's now time to talk about my favorite area of the park, the Needles District. Located in the heart of Custer State Park, this area is home to many of the park's main attractions like the Needles Highway, Black Elk Peak, and the Sylvan Lake. If you're coming to Custer and are looking for some thrilling adventures, this is the place, so let me break it all down for you. Needles Highway, or State Highway 87, is perhaps South Dakota's most epic drives. This 14-mile stretch of engineering marvel winds its way past towering granite towers known as the Needles, making its way through tight turns and tunnels before eventually arriving at the famous Needles Eye Tunnel. There are many pullouts along the route to stop and take in the views of this incredible place. If you're looking for a short but rewarding hike, check out this 2-mile hike to Cathedral Spires, where you'll hike into the Needles Towers and be completely surrounded by their beauty. Near the west entrance of the Needles Highway is Custer's crown jewel, the Sylvan Lake. This pristine alpine lake is perfect for fishing, kayaking, or just relaxing after a long day. Here you will also find the historic Sylvan Lodge, a general store, and an eatery offering a quick and easy snack. I want to tell you about 2 wonderful hikes you can do here at Sylvan Lake. First is the Sunday Gulch that starts at the north end of the lake. While the website states 3.5 miles, I recommend hiking about a mile in until you reach an overlook because the remainder of the hike follows a busy road without much views. Keep in mind this is a bit of a strenuous hike, and I only recommend hiking it in the summer as some parts of the trail could get slippery. My favorite hike in all of Black Hills starts at the northeast end of Sylvan Lake and is called the Black Elk Peak. This 6.5 mile hike takes you to the highest point east of the Rockies. It's not a very hard hike and the views throughout will leave you speechless. If you can, try to come here for sunset to witness the Black Hills glow in gold colors as you look out into the horizon. I have covered the wildlife loop, told you all the must-dos in the Needles District, and now I'm going to tell you what is, in my opinion, the most underappreciated attraction of the park, the Iron Mountain Road. This breathtaking 17-mile drive connects Custer State Park to Mount Rushmore as it twists and turns, goes through tunnels, before eventually taking you to the best views of our 4 presidents carved into the side of the mountain. The Iron Mountain Road, or Highway 16A, starts just 2 miles east of Custer State Park Visitor Center, which I urge you to visit to watch a beautiful short film narrated by Kevin Costner about the lands surrounding the Black Hills and the history of the Lakota people who occupy these lands. As you begin to make your drive through the open lands and the forests, you'll soon come into the view of the beautiful mountains on which America's most recognizable monuments was created, Mount Rushmore. Continue your drive as you make your way up the hairpin turns until you reach the Norbeck Overlook. Stop here for a minute to appreciate the views around you. This overlook was named for Peter Norbeck, South Dakota's first native governor who greatly contributed to preserving these beautiful lands for future generations. From the top of the Norbeck Overlook, you're just 6 miles away from Mount Rushmore National Monument, which is many people's primary reason for visiting. During these last 6 miles, you will pass through 2 more tunnels and a section of the road called the Pigtails. Enjoy the ride, stop in designated areas, and appreciate this engineering marvel. If you'd like more in-depth videos on each of the 3 parts of Custer's we had just talked about, I invite you to visit my Custer State Park playlist. Just outside of Custer State Park's boundaries are 2 more national monuments that I want to talk about that are must-see on your visit to Black Hills. The first one is the one we all know and recognize, the 4 faces of our former presidents carved into the side of the mountain, Mount Rushmore. While the monument is free to visit, you will need to pay $10 parking fee. As you enter the monument and walk down the Avenue of the Flags, be sure to stop at the Visitor Center to learn the history and inspiration behind this monument. When you reach the Grand Terrace, head to the left on a short half-a-mile hike through the Presidential Trail, which was the original overlook here in Mount Rushmore. After a visit to Mount Rushmore, I encourage you to visit another monument that is still a work in progress more than 75 years later, the Crazy Horse Memorial. This monument was dedicated to the famous Lakota warrior named Crazy Horse. The monument, which was never federally or government funded, is paid for by donations and monument entrance fee of $15. There's a beautiful museum that tells you the story of the native people of these lands, as well as pictures that display progress of the monument over the years. No one really knows when or if the project will ever be completed, but you can see the vision of what the finished project is supposed to look like. These are all of the places and recommendations I wanted to share with you today from Custer State Park, and as always, I encourage you to do your own research because there are many other beautiful places in and around Custer State Park. I invite you to visit my South Dakota playlist for trip inspiration and hope to see you on my next adventure.